Okay, so you have asked the question if anything has been found about Titanic's pianos, or especially Titanic's grand pianos, or whatsoever Titanic's pianos. So here you see me at the Grand Staircase replica in Germany. I know the color of the cherub is not right, but nonetheless, it is beautiful, and I could get there faster than by flying to the States. So this happened. So here I'm standing in between artifacts from Titanic.
I love
Okay,
it.
let's get to your piano question. Now I cannot name the source. I don't know on which expedition the following thing was found. It was found recently,
Hmm.
and
Oh
um,
wow, that's
I also
gorgeous.
I also don't know who knows about this. I only know the people who I thought should know about it didn't know about it. So has there been found anything uh, from Titanic's pianos? And
Mhm.
well, people thought so, but then recently something came up which blew everybody's mind. So here we have, of course, Olympic's grand piano,
Hmm. Isn't that
in
beautiful?
the Staircase landing. And if you opened the front of such a Steinway model, I think it is Model D grand piano, this is what it would look like. Here you see that the keys have been removed, and you see in the back some of the mechanics.
Hmm.
And it was thought that Titanic's grand piano was found covered in midst of rubble on D deck at one of the expeditions. So they found this one here on Titanic and thought that could be the piano. You can read all of that: underside of the keys, bass, bottom of key rail, etc. Very speculative, covered completely in rubble. So experts are not sure whether this is Titanic's grand piano or not. So I mean, if you compare these two pictures, it could be, but well, all the wood would have been rotted away. Like all the wood on Titanic, almost all of it has rotted away. And then there is something else. This is what would remain on the sea, in the wreck, or on the bottom of the sea. The frame, the metal frame of a Steinway grand piano, Model D. Yes, I was right. It says here on the bottom left. And again, I cannot name any sources, but now fasten seatbelts. This is what has been discovered recently,
Oh,
lying right there
Oh.
in the debris field. I showed it to um, some historians and piano technicians. They
Hmm.
had to hold their breath, saying, "I've seen hundreds of Steinway Model Ds in my life. This is the frame of a Steinway Model D beyond a doubt."
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
as we
That's
as
interesting.
as we have this here, which is clearly the remains of one of Titanic's grand pianos, the question has to be asked. And unfortunately, it is such a niche. People put too little effort into this. I'm about to write a doctorate in the next years about Titanic piano sheet music. I mean, I'm sure I mean it. So the question is this the grand piano
Wow.
and not this,
So that
or
could be a different one. I mean,
or is it a second one
hmm.
which we have not known anything about? It could be from the lounge. We do not know for sure if there was a piano or not. Rather not, as far as we know nowadays. But it would be very unusual compared to other lines
Hmm.
not to have a piano in the main first class relaxing area.
Hmm.
So that's as far as Titanic's pianos go, and this is something the world hasn't really taken notice of. There has been found a Steinway Model D grand piano metal frame at the Titanic wrecksite, and now the question is, which piano is that? Isn't that quite something?
Yeah, it is. Doesn't it look like the keys would survive too? I mean, if they were made of ivory, like real ivory, that in that like harder than most substances, or would that like dissolve like bone too?
Well, it could be, but since it went 3 miles down, you don't know
Hmm.
what damage was done to it, and so the ivory could still exist. I agree to that.
I wonder.
Plastic would still exist too, but it wasn't no plastic back then. And
Yeah.
anything else apparently would have rotted away, and it
Mhm.
would
Yeah.
pretty much the frame that would be left. And after more than 100 years, so the keys, these little pieces of ivory, they would have
Yeah.
gotten would have become completely loose. And without the wooden key below it and the connection to the mechanics and the strings, there would be these small hair
Cool.
thin ivory pieces that the tide or a fish or whatever could have just scattered everywhere.
Hmm.
But
That's something.
the frame beyond the doubt
Hmm.
is from one of the grand pianos, but we don't know which one. And we don't know for certain if there only was one grand piano on Titanic.
Yeah, I know that's been up for debate for a really long time as to how many and what kind and um wow, isn't
Yeah.
that something?
Uh,
Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're doing
This
such a friendly nice job with us here. I I
I love
really
wreck
wanted
stuff.
you to do this.
But that one that I saw like the little timestamp at the bottom. That's been around since 2015.
Uh, okay, I didn't notice myself. See,
Hmm.
I
I
saw the instrument
recognize
like I always do.
I recognize the name and date on that one. That first one that you showed. That's been around for a long time. And
But the first, but not the video, right? The picture.
no, the video I haven't seen before. I
So
haven't seen the first one either, but that's been almost 10 years since that one was
right,
identified.
right here we have
Mm,
2015. Correct, yes. And
mm,
then here we go. There is no timestamp of here. You
not seen
think
it on that one.
choose right here, yeah. So that's like in within the last 2 to 5 years,
That's interesting.
rather 2 years. Don't have it. One of the last expeditions.
That is really something.
It is.
Look at
It,
that.
yeah.
Hmm.
Compare this. It's like it's upside down. But
Hmm.
here you see the frame. So the front part of the frame, it doesn't exist anymore. It broke off. It's like only half of it, and it's upside down. And there you actually can see remains of strings. At least that's my guess.
With that being such thin metal, I'm so surprised that it didn't that it's still there, you know.
So
Um,
I'm sure it was totally destroyed when the ship went down, and that part of the frame just found the resting place right there.
I wonder if the a la carte piano, um, the Steinway, if that was in the a la carte restaurant, I wonder what happened to it because that was so close to the break. If it was
Yeah.
truly in the
Can
reception
I
area.
Yeah,
jump in?
yeah. Go
Yeah, I wonder
ahead.
what happened then.
So
Hmm.
I was trying to frantically flip through George Behe's voices from the Carpathia, but at the moment, I can't find the passage I read where Pat, when they were looking around the site after the morning after the sun had come up, they said they had found pieces of a piano floating in the water. And one of the thoughts in the back of my mind, and I mentioned this to Kent a long time ago, um, Patrick, I'm finishing up the plans for us, the floor plans, and one of the thoughts in my back of my mind is, okay, if our piano was in the reception area in the aft grand staircase, that's the area where the ship broke.
See
So
that? That's what I was thinking.
I've been keeping that passage in the back of my mind because I'm thinking, okay, well, if it was in the break region,
Yeah.
you know,
The kid parts
I
of
wonder,
it could
I
be out
wonder
there
if the
that
piano, I wonder if the parts of the piano they saw floating in the water, if that could have been part of our piano, or, well, not our piano, but the original twin of our piano.
Mhm.
Unless we had
Maybe.
more information about that, we really can't say for certain, but just, you know, the fact that it could have been possibly put in the reception area for the a la carte restaurant, and that's the break region. But in terms of the a la carte restaurant, it was in the stern section, so that room is
So, question,
destroyed.
would that have been accessible to like the deck area? Like, would it have been possible for them to wheel that out on the deck the night of the sinking?
No,
No?
I mean they had. So I forgot the name both in German and English. That there was a certain metal straps or something like that,
Oh,
which
okay.
were with which the piano was held against the wall.
Okay.
They could be lifted, so the piano could be moved. Yes, but remember, it was on the same deck as the a la carte,
Okay. So lower.
and it
It was the lower deck.
wouldn't have made any sense to put it out on deck. And George B. He has, for the first time, finally, fantastically how do you say, recreated the musician's path, so to say, and explained very well how people mistakenly used words like first class saloon, first class dining room. So like everything for them was like the first class saloon. So
Mhm.
in where the musicians were until probably up until the very almost the very end was actually behind me, so to say, right there on the top of the grand staircase where there was an upright piano. This is
Okay.
what it formed. And
So it wasn't that upright piano. It was
exactly.
okay.
And from there, they went out onto deck probably only for the last 10, 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So not where Cameron put them in the movie, but on the other side of the deck. That's only natural.
Okay.
But the a la carte piano did not play a role during the sinking. It was on the wrong deck and in the wrong part of the ship. The musicians weren't there during the sinking.
I just remember one account saying that they thought the band was playing a piano during the sinking. And I was just wondering where it came from.
That might
But
be, and
what
I
you
agree
said makes more
with
sense.
that. That might be perfectly valid. But it was not. It said that a lady, some person played a piano in the back of the ship,
Okay.
but not the musicians themselves.
Okay. That makes more sense. All right. So viewer Greg Ellis was asking, would there have likely been a Steinway upright piano in the third class common area as well?
So in the third class, there was of course a piano,
Mhm.
but I'm afraid I don't know if it was in fact a Steinway. So just checking my stuff here. Okay, there is an article out there, which is named Steinways on the Titanic or on
Mhm.
Titanic Olympicos or something like that. No, I'm afraid. I apologize. I'd have to Google it myself now.
Yeah, I don't remember what kind it was. I remember I was doing research for the group that I started, White Star Library.
Mhm.
So I was trying to research, where the library areas were on the ship. And it did mention that third class had a piano, an upright piano, but it did not mention, at least that I recall, what kind it was. But they didn't have a library in third class. They had
Right.
a piano, but not a library or a bookshelf. Which brings me to this. This is interesting. So when I was doing research for that, um, the question came to mind of first and second class had a quote unquote library, which was like a big